YouTubers, telling every day life on Aspie. If you're new, I'm Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and sharing my life stories with autism and mental health, and taking you all on a journey with fun and games, along with the many other things in between that. So if you're into any of these, feel free to smash that subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos like these. So today this one's going to be based on a series that someone has actually asked me of by the name of Joey as a request, so I'll give that as a shout out for Joey if he's watching today or not, based on the Gut Microbiomes and Autism series that I'm going to do up. So in it, what's going to cover is the anatomy and physiology for the first part, as well as the introductory part of it, what's going to cover what I'm doing right now. This is also the treatment options or methods that you can do to go about with the gut microbiomes if you're an autistic or just people with it, and then some bits and pieces in between that of the Leaky Gut Syndrome versus also the myths to be debunked about the gut microbiomes versus the Leaky Gut Syndrome. So hopefully you'll learn something along the way. So the very first question in this very first part of our anatomy of gut microbiomes and autism series of the introduction is, the first and foremost, what is our gut microbiome? This may sound crazy to you all, right? But we are all more bacteria than we are in ourselves as a human being, with over 90 trillion bacteria cells that are living inside of us as well as outside of us on our skin. These little guys outnumber our human cells by 10 to 1. Now that's a little gross to think about it, right? But at the same time, it's super fascinating. Even if you are a bit germaphobe. Our gut bacteria affects way more than you think it would in our everyday life. It's a diverse makeup of different strains of bacteria, where some are good and some are bad. So some will come to fight against some of the natural infections that would come along the way of colds and flus, while other times it'll be just the normal everyday good bacteria that just keeps us in the right temperature and whatever else it may be. We don't know what an ideal gut bacteria makeup is, but we do have an idea what's increasing and decreasing certain kinds that will do the job. With the many recent discoveries in the last decade of our microbiome, the scientific community is coming to call our gut our second brain, because of its major effects on our immune system, mood, thinking, hormone production, and much more. So therefore, basically, I'll have a little illustration right now to basically show you what I'm talking about of the very first one, just to show you the pathway of the brain versus the gut, and so on and so forth. So therefore, as I'm saying, it seems like having a gut instinct may be more than just the common idiom that we hear about, or we just use on a normal basis, right? Following our gut instinct. You know, and also I'm saying this basically, that comes about quite a lot. Alright, inside here though, there's a major network of neurons all along our intestinal lining, right, which is called the enteric nervous system. Enteric means pertaining to the gut, just to bear in mind. Our nervous system has a direct line between the gut and the brain called the vagus nerve. This is like a highway that sends signals and neurotransmitters, which are the chemicals that affect our thinking and mood, between the brain and the gut. An example to clearly illustrate is a chemical called serotonin and GABA. They are both neurotransmitters that affects the mood and thinking and are partially produced in our gut. We will dive into the serotonin more in a bit, as there's some research linking abnormal serotonin levels with autism, however. Right, as I mentioned before about serotonin and how they are abnormal levels of it in the children with autism, it has become such a high correlation that many people think it's a key link to why some children are autistic and some are not. Personally, when looking at all of this research, I don't think there's just one key link, however. I think there are many factors of why some children have autism while others don't. While one strategy may work wonders for one child, however, it may have minimal effect on another child. This is why working with your doctor to create a personalised strategy for your child is very important, regardless of what they have got, autism or not. With that being said, serotonin is one factor that seems to have a big impact. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that plays a key role in the following: your sensory gating and processing, behavior inhibition, appetite, aggression, sleep, mood, and brain development. Do any of these sound like traits that your child may have problems with on the daily? For most people, this list is pretty evident and quite clear that it does affect them. There have been many studies backing up the differences in serotonin levels in children with autism and those without autism. One study has found that 30% of people with autism have abnormal blood levels of serotonin. The reason we are talking about serotonin alongside with gut bacteria is that it's estimated that 90% of our serotonin is produced in our digestive tract. You can see why health fixing the gut could be a big win for children. Intestinal symptoms are a common comorbidity in patients with autism spectrum disorders, but the underlying mechanisms again are unknown. Many studies have shown alterations in the composition of the fecal, floral, and metabolic products of the gut microbiome in patients with ASD. So clearly in this first or second image I am showing you all right now is the system's biological model of the brain-gut microbiome interactions. The gut microbiota is obviously communicating with the gut connectome, the network of interacting cell types in the gut that include neuronal, glial, endocrine, and immune cells via microbial metabolites, while changes in gut function can modulate gut microbial behavior. The brain connectome, the multiple interconnected structural networks of the central nervous system, generates and regulates autonomic nervous system influences that alter the gut microbial composition and function indirectly by modulating the microbial environment in the gut. The gut microbiota can communicate to the brain indirectly via gut-derived molecules acting on response to perturbations such as psychosocial or gut-directed, such as example-wise diet, medication, infections. Stress can also alter the stability and behavior of the system, manifesting as brain-gut disorders. And this third imagery that you're seeing here right now is this is a proposed role of the MGB network in modulating the stress response, is what I'm talking about with a bit of stress. Microbiota communicates with gut-brain axis, the GBA, via mediators from epithelial cells, immune cells, and neurons to influence behavioral responses. Stress, on the other hand, can affect the GI disorders directly via GBA or indirectly via gut microbiota interaction. Abnormal or unhealthy microbiota, or as in this case it's defined as dysbiosis, alters microbial metabolism and synthesis of mediators. GBA, gut-brain axis, HPA, which is your hypothalamal pituitary adrenal axis, gastrointestinal. And in this illustration where the color-coded arrows are shown here is used to show the existence of the bidirectional communications within the MGB network. The gut microbiomes influences brain development and behaviors through the neuroendocrine, neuroimmune, and autonomic nervous systems. In addition to animal gut microbiomes is associated with several diseases such as inflammatory bowel disease, autism spectrum disorders, and mood disorders. In the second image, as you can see here, or third one, wherever I'm up to, this bush has shown a fundamental factor underlying the relationships between autism spectrum disorders and the gut, that is the increased permeability of the intestinal tract of autism spectrum disorder individuals, referred to as the leaky gut, which again I'll refer to the leaky gut syndrome in one of the videos over. Previous studies have demonstrated that autism spectrum disorder animals present defects in the gastrointestinal barrier, resulting in the entry of the toxins and bacterial products into the bloodstream, which influence brain function. For example, lipopolysaccharide components of the cell wall of the gram-negative bacteria is increased in the serum of autism spectrum disorders compared with healthy individuals and is associated with impaired social behavior scores. Fiorentino et found that the integrity of both the gut barrier and the BBB were impaired in autism spectrum disorders individuals, as evidenced by increased levels of claudin, which is your claudin 5, claudin 12, claudin 3 and MMP 9 in the autism spectrum brain, and decreased levels of intestinal tight junction components in autism spectrum individuals compared with controls. Intestinal permeability measured by the lactulose mannitol test has been shown to be increased in autistic children compared with healthy controls. Furthermore, germ-free mice display increased BBB permeability. Bacterial products such as your acetate and propionate can enhance the integrity of the BBB. So this quickly ends a real short video, hopefully, with the introduction of the anatomy and physiology. If you like this, smash the like. Feel free to comment below. Feel free to share if you've got something similar to what I'm sharing about the word leaky gut syndrome or what have you, and maybe just talk about what you feel about the biomes of the intestinal walls and whatnot of what I'm sharing right now. So for the day, guys, don't forget I've got a Patreon, guys. For those of you who don't know, basically what a Patreon is basically where you just donate, big or small, if you wanted to help with funding for me to continue what I love to do, which in this case is advocacy and educating you all based on autism and mental health, and taking you all on a journey. This will cover the cost of my travel versus my accommodation if I do travel, versus also my recording software and so on and so forth. So, and further ado, also don't forget to follow me on my social medias when it comes up, so to speak. And all further ado, also, guys, just share the love, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao for now.